Hey guys, welcome to my channel and I hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to build an autocomplete using Bulma and React. The autocomplete in itself will be very simple. As we type in any search term or any text, it will try to give us suggestion using the sample text, sample items or sample list of text we will provide to the input, and once we select any of the item from the list, it will try to pre-fill that input using that item. So let's get started. So first of all, I already have a dummy application set it up using create react app, and we will start by installing bulma first. So let's install bulma, yarn add bulma. So bulma is a css framework just like bootstrap, and we are going to use it for styling our autocomplete. So bulma is installed, and now let's get started with our app. So firstly and foremost, I'm going to create an input. So let's create an input. Firstly, let's create a container, just to contain the input. So I'll just name it input container, right? And then I will write my input type will be text, and that's pretty much it. Let's start the application and see how it goes. So the application is started, and yeah, you can see the input, but it is not looking that good. So what I'm going to use Bulma and Bulma's provided classes, and then style it. So let's go over to Bulma and see how we can use our input. So if we go to input, you can see all the primary input and everything, and I think we can just say input type text and all, right? So we just have to use the class name input. So I'm just going to do class name input, and let's see what happens. And yeah, you can see, the input is a bit big and I don't want it like this, but let's give it some margin from the top. We can do it by empty 5. So this is a helper class from Bulma which says margin top, and to the 5th level, which is like I think 3 rem, and you can see there is an input, there is a margin from the top, and I don't want its width to be like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this input container. So app.css, I'm going to remove all of this. I'm going to say input container width 400 pix, and let's see if that works. Yeah, okay, great, that looks good. Now let's create our list which will act as a drop down for the autocomplete. So let's create our list, and for the starter I'm just going to keep them as a p paragraph element. So for example, let's say we are searching for the name of a user. So let's create a list of name of the user. For example, const users equal to let's create a string, right? User Manoj Singh Negi, right? So say Ravi Sharma, right? Joseph, Rachel Green, let's say Ross Geller, right? Or let's go for, I don't know, Matt Black. Okay, and I'm going to just show that list here. Users dot map user p element and just show our users one by one. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, so I can see the list of all the users, and now what I want to do is when I type in any name, I should be able to filter out this list. So let's do that. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to store the value of this input into the state variables, because I want to use that variable and then filter the list according to that. So what I'm going to do is username, set username, or I can just say, yeah, this is fine, username is fine. So username, use state, and for the starting it will be empty, and then say const filtered users is equal to users dot filter user dot includes username. So what basically I'm doing is, if I type in Manoj in the username, it should match with this because Manoj Singh Negi includes Manoj, right? So that's what I'm doing, and if it returns true, include it in the list, and then I'm going to map over this filtered users result. All right, filtered users array, and I'm going to set the value here as well, username, and on change I'm going to say set username e dot target dot value. Okay, so let's go here, try to type something. No. Okay, do you know what is happening, why it's not matching Manoj? The reason being that this am is in caps. So for example, if I type caps am, then it will match Manoj and Matt but not Ravi Sharma. But if I type am, it will match Ravi Sharma because am is in is in lowercase here. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to change both of these values to lowercase, the username and the user as well. So once I do that, then you can see if I type am, then it's matching all of these, and even if I type caps am, it will match all of these, because now whenever we are matching, we are converting both strings to lowercase and then we are matching them, so they are always getting an exact match, and the cases are not playing any part in that. So now we are able to filter the list. The next thing what I wanted to do is, when I click on this filtered like any of these item, it should pre-fill the input here. So let's do that. On click, set username as this user. Okay, so whenever I'm clicking on an item, for example, if I click on matte black, it will change the item to matte black, the input to matte black. If I click on Rachel Green, it will change it to Rachel Green. If I say Joseph, then it will change it to Joseph. Okay, so now let's go here and say M Manoj and just click on matte black, and it will change it to matte black. All right. The other thing is, if it's an exact match, I don't want to show the autocomplete because it is already completed, right? So what I'm going to do is, or what I can do is something like this, and user dot length not equal to username dot length. So this will ensure if they're if they're length is same, means they are the same input, then it should not show the autocomplete option. So for example, if I type just Manoj, it will show it. But yeah, so if I click on Manoj Singh Negi, then it will not show it. But if I remove anything, it will again show it, and you can click on it to basically pre-fill it. But this is not looking that good right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to a drop down. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here, go on the drop down, and I'm going to use the drop down menu just like this. I'm going to copy this whole thing, and paste it here. I don't need the divider, so I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to format this. So now instead I will remove this trigger thing and see if this works. So yeah, you can see the drop down, right? And also all the classes should be class name, so I'm just going to change that, right? And the other thing is, if it's is active, if it shows is active, then you can see if we remove the is active, then it basically hides. If we say is active, then it's visible again, right? So, and I don't want this blue thing, so I'm just going to remove this, right? So they will look like this. So instead of this, now we want the users list here. So what we will do is we will move this map and put it in here, not here, inside this, because we want to map over the drop down item. So instead of P, I'm going to use this A and put them here, and this on click should be here, and this user should be here, and I don't need any of these now. Should be one block inside, and yeah, so you can see, right, Manoj Singh Negi and all that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to provide the key to them. So key will be index, which I will extract from here. Right, so now you can see the list, right? And if I click any of this, it will refill, but you can see this empty drop down. I will hide this, but yeah. So if I type Manoj Singh Negi, if I say Ross Geller, then you can see, the inputs items are filtering. So I can say Ross, I can say Geller, right? I can go and click on this to prefill the item, prefill the input. So now what we have to do is, if there is no item, then is active should be false, right? So what I'm going to do is so instead of putting an ternary operator there or the condition in there inline, I'm going to put it here. So const is drop down open. So the first thing is drop down will only open if there is any search term inside the username. So if we are typing, if there is any text inside this input, right? So username, if username is true, or you can say username dot length, you can also say, right? So username dot length, and then filtered users dot length, right? So if there are filtered users, and if the username if we have written something inside the input, then only it will show the drop down. So is drop down open? If it is open, it will show is active, right? And if it is not, then it will show nothing, then it will put nothing. So I'm going to convert it into a, one sec, it into a tablet literal. Something like this. So drop down open? If the drop down is open, then it will show is active, and if it is not, then it will show nothing. So now you can see, right? So if there is no text written in the input, it will not show the drop down. If I write something and it will match something, then it will show. But if I click on it and the filtered user's length is 0, then it will again not show, right? Which is what we wanted, right? So you can see, and I can click on it to just select it, right? So now I want to navigate through the search results or the autocomplete suggestions using my key navigations. For example, if there are multiple results for some search term, for example A, and there are 4 search results, I should be able to navigate between these results using my up and down key. So in order to do that, to implement this functionality, we have to catch key press event. So let's do that. So what we are going to do is to catch arrow keys, we can't use on key press, they only get fired on key down. So what we are going to do is on key down, call handle key down. So this is our handler function, which is going to go here, say const handle key down equal to event and console.log e.key. Let's see if that works. Handle key down is not defined. It is defined here, right? So now it should be okay. Yeah. So if I go here, so you can see all the events, and if I type arrow, if I tap key up and down, you can see arrow up, arrow down, arrow up, arrow down, right? So this is what we need. Now what we are going to do is we are going to keep a register of where the selected option is right now. So for example, we're going to keep track of which index is selected. So if this index is selected right now by the user, when the user is using the navigation key to move between the options, so which is the active element right now. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is const current index set current index equal to use state. For starter, it will always be 0. If e.key is arrow up, then set current index -1, right? Because it's going up, so it should be minus, right? -1, right? And if e.key is equal to arrow down, then do a +1, right? I think we can better write this instead of writing this in in if conditions, we can write it better in the switch, I guess. So let's do switch. I think that will be much better. Switch e dot key, and if the case is arrow up, then do a set current index this, and then break, or else arrow down. If the arrow is down, then plus it, plus one in it, right? What I'm doing, okay. And here, instead of this, I am going to highlight the selected item. So if the current index matches the index in the loop, then what I'm going to do is, if it matches, then say is active. Let's see if that works. So you can see the first one is always selected because it's the 0th element. If I tap the bottom key, the down key, then it moves down. If I tap move up, then it moves up. Again, if I tap move down, then it moves down. Same thing. Right now we haven't provided a boundary condition. For example, if the current index is already 0, if we -1, then it will go -1. So for example, if I go here and then if I go above, then it's like it's -1, -2, -3, and if I keep tapping down, it will not come down. So yeah, that's what happening. If after matte black, if I hit down, then it goes down, which we don't want, right? So we want to put some boundaries conditions there. So what I'm going to do is, if current index is smaller than current index, not smaller than, but filtered user, right? So filtered users, okay. Filtered users dot length -1, then set current index, then it's fine, I guess, if it's smaller than this. And in this condition, if current index is greater than 1, right? Not greater than 0, right? Because it should be greater than 0 to 2, because if it's 0, then we can't go back, we can't go we can't -1 from the 0, right? And in this condition, what we are doing, if the total length, for example, if it's 4, then -1 3, so current index should be 2 in order to +1 and then goes to 3. If it's already 3, then it can't go beyond that. So let's go here, hit reload, type amp, and you can see I can hit the down key as much as I want, but it will not go below matte black, and same for the top and bottom, right? But now there is another problem. I can click on the items and pre-fill the input, but still I can't hit enter to select the item, right? So what I'm going to do is case arrow down case this, in case enter set username filtered user current index, right? So if you go here and type Manoj Singh Negi, if I hit enter, I'm not doing this, I'm not trying to do that. Sorry. So if I do this hit enter, then it will go to Ravi Sharma. If I hit enter here, and if I go matte black, then again. Alright, so if I say A and Manoj Singh Negi, then it will basically select Manoj Singh Negi. But there is one other thing, if you are paying attention. So for example, if I am at matte black and I remove A, and if I hit enter, then you can see none of the item is selected. But in our case, it should be the Manoj Singh Negi, the first item should be selected. But why it is not selected? The reason being, even if I am changing the list, the current index stays the same. So in this scenario, it is set to the index number 3rd. If I type M, there is no index number 3rd, so it is not showing up, but the index is still the third index number, right? So what I'm going to do is, whenever the list changes, whenever the use effect, so I'm going to put a effect on the filtered users.length. So whenever the length changes, what I have to do is I have to reset the current index to 0. Now if I type M and it goes to matte black, so you can see, right, it will always select the first item. The reason being the list is changing. Okay, so if I go here, goes to matte, but I say I type EN, then it will go to Manoj Singh Negi. So yeah guys, that was an autocomplete we built using Bulma and React. We also implemented keyboard listeners. So I hope you really liked this video, and do let me know what kind of videos you want me to create in the future. And yeah, until the next video, take care.